Oh, man, do I love my job. How y'all all? Welcome to the Griffon Show. Great to have you with us as we rock and roll. And, of course, Brandon, I'm going to move this just a little bit.
You're good.
I don't want it in my ear. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Yes, yes, yes. I love it. We made national news today. We made national news.
Is that your 1950 sound effects?
57. Exactly. Made national news.
Uh-huh.
2 Louisiana lawmakers reportedly have brawl over legislative dispute. I love it.
And one of them from here in Lafayette.
One of them from Lafayette, and one of them from the New Orleans area.
Yeah.
Stuart Bishop, who, by the way, they kept saying was going to run for Congress or be Speaker of the House. Stuart gets in a fight with Norby Chabert. By the way, one's a representative, Bishop, and one is a senator, Chabert. And 1 o'clock in the morning at a bar, I'm sure they were having fun. And people are going, wow, you say you love it. I love this idea of people fighting in the legislature. I do. I think it's all. Matter of fact, I would like to see a proposal to allow alcohol in the Senate and House chambers now. And marijuana, of course, just for medical reasons. And I would allow that to go on all day. And maybe when the fights break out, we'll see who's really fighting for us. I just think this would be great, man. Listen, we might get somebody told me a while ago, maybe we'd get something done if they did that. So at 1 o'clock in the morning, Stuart Bishop and Norby Chabert, who I'm sure were in there not drinking punch or Sprite with lime in it, they decided that they'd arguing over some legislation. And boom, bam, boom. Looked like Batman and Robin sounds. So they get into a big fight. And I'm one of the few that thinks it's a pretty good deal. Now, we made national news, and it's kind of embarrassing. Somebody told me, how much more embarrassing can we get? I don't know. Stick around. This is a new day. So, according to this, Bishop, who blocked a Chabert-backed bill, said he was punched several times and only sustained a few bruises. He said he did not return the shots from his colleagues. What's his problem? God have mercy. Somebody's going to punch at you. At least learn to punch back. I don't think Bishop's going to be fighting for the right legislation. He don't know how to fight. So 1 o'clock in the morning at a bar room and they're talking about a bill, and they get into a big fight, and we make national news. Fox had it. AP had it. National news from lawmakers fighting. I think it's a great idea. But I think they ought to put alcohol in the Senate and the House. Let John Alario make crab stew. And what can be made in the state legislature now? Wouldn't it be great? I mean, I just think it would be super to watch them fight it out in the legislature. And, hey, we can make news every week. So, anyway. 1 o'clock in the morning in the bar. No wonder, Brandon, they don't want to work every day. They got other things to do at night. I mean, this is what we sent out. I know we sent our legislators down there to fight for us, but I didn't know it was going to take it to this point. And by the way, nobody has talked about it. I hadn't found a story yet that said what bill they were talking about. Both of them have apologized. I think, on the House and Senate floor. Why are they apologizing? Brandon, maybe you know. Why are they apologizing in the House and the Senate on the floor when they didn't fight? If they would have had to fight in the House or in the Senate, then I think you apologize. But why do they have to apologize to somebody in the House and Senate? I mean, what do they want? Their colleagues not to be mad at them?
Well, yeah, that, and I guess because they do represent them. And
well, you know what they did to Bishop? You didn't see what they did? They created the legislature. That's why I said, why apologize? They were making fun of him. Yeah. They created a crime scene around his desk. They put the yellow rope signs, like you see at a crime scene where they roped off his office or his desk as a crime scene. So guess what they were doing, Brandon? They were laughing about it.
They were laughing about it, yeah.
So why in the world would you go apologize like you some kind of distinguished person that you above that when nobody's above that? Especially if you go get drunk.
Yeah.
Of course, I can't accuse anybody of being drunk, Brandon, but at 1 o'clock in the morning, if you've been drunk, let's just say they got there at 9. And they kept drinking the whole time. I hope they had Uber, or whatever you call Uber, or Uber. Whatever. I don't use
put the Y in there.
Yeah, Uber or Uber, whatever one it is. I hope they had Uber and Uber to get them home. Or Brandon, I'm sure one of the elected officials probably was sitting over there and was a person not drinking, so they can get them home. Surely they weren't going to drive drinking and beat up. I'm telling y'all, alcohol in the House and Senate, we'll see who the fighters are. And we'll see who will fight for us. Matter of fact, was it the advocate? Yeah, advocate. No excuse for Louisiana lawmakers Bishop and Chabert to come to blows over legislation. Oh, my God. I just sitting here falling out laughing. Oh, they being chastised now. National news. You know, we don't make national news because our economy's rolling. And by the way, check this out. Oil hits $80 a barrel, and we're not participating in the economy. In Louisiana, when oil is hitting $80 a barrel, we're not only participating in the economy, we become the economy. And yet we're not participating because of Bell Edwards' buddies suing everybody. And so the oil and gas companies can't get off the ground because they can't pay for all the lawsuits that's come up against them because of Comouche and the rest of Edwards' buddies who are going to try to get him reelected. Our GDP has been in the negative for 2 years. Our economy's growing half of what our government's growing. And now they're talking about a special session starting on Monday. And I've heard people say, well, we just passed a half-cent sales tax. And, Brandon, that's what I love. You saw Bell Edwards say that if we pass a half-cent sales tax, we're actually cutting the budget $400 million.
Yes.
By the way, Republicans are starting to jump in that now, too.
Oh.
I'm seeing them go, well, you know, if we just cut it in half, we can, because they're practicing their sales pitch back home. Our priorities are screwed up. Medicaid is destroying our state budget, destroying it. With 40% of the people that shouldn't even be on Medicaid. I think Landry has a number that's saving us $460 million. They don't want to address that, okay? We don't have our priorities. But anyway, we're going to drop it to a half-cent sales tax. By the way, to make a permanent tax would be foolish of Republicans to make a permanent tax. Foolish. And I don't understand something. If Bell Edwards would settle for a half-cent sales tax when he told us last time that the sales tax hurts the poor among us, well, if it does, why are they passing the sales tax? I mean, if that's really true, why would a liberal leftist Democrat like Bell Edwards do that? So now we got $80 oil, and we're not participating in the economy in Louisiana. Now, before somebody calls me, I know there are some businesses doing stuff and making a living, but it's not at the level, not even close to the level we ought to have right now in the state of Louisiana. And as I talked to people, I ran into a guy the other day. I'm not going to tell you his name. Listened to the program, and we were talking about this. And their company's hiring. He said, man, we're doing real good. I said, well, look, man, that's not what I'm hearing. He said, oh, no, everything you're saying on the air is right. I said, about the oil prices and business and jobs. I said, well, what do you mean? You tell me y'all booming. He said, we're hiring people to go work in Texas. I said, why can't they work here? He said, lawsuits. He said, lawsuits. They're beating up on businesses so bad from the Bell Edwards administration. The lawsuits, when Bell Edwards and this governor encouraged the lawsuits with parishes, and 6 parishes stepped up to the table to say, we're going to get our money now because we know the oil companies aren't coming back. $80 oil. $80 a barrel. Now, look, let me just tell you this. And, Brandon, I'm going to say this, and you can be my witness. We down there in the hard oil and gas. And I never understood $3 and $4 a gallon of gasoline, and I thought, man, that ain't good. But you come down here, and there's so many people were working when the price was high. So many people working. And then I understood it a little bit more. And I thought, you know what, for me to pay $80 more a month, for people to have good middle-class jobs and to be able to make a living, I'd pay it in a second. But here's my problem. If we're going to jack up to $3, $4 a gallon of gasoline and it's not going to benefit our workers here, Now, Brandon, I have a problem with it. And people in here have to understand, people that don't live in the oil and gas sector, that when they start looking at prices like that, it scares them. Well, it scares me too if we're not going to benefit from it with jobs.
I'll be honest with you. As I've seen the prices going up lately, that's my first thought, is knowing that the oil and gas industry is not taking off and seeing the higher prices feels like we're getting the short end of the stick.
But you see, Brandon, then my thought process is right in the fact that if the price going up is not going to help our workers and our state, and the hell with taxes.
Then it hurts both of us.
Yeah, it hurts everything then. The hell with taxes. I'm not worried about what government gets anymore. They get too much. I'm sick of them whining all the time, local, state, and federal government. I'm worried about real people. I'm worried about people who make the money to put their blood, sweat, and tears in their businesses and jobs. To me, without that, there is no money for government. None. But you keep taking anyway. $80 a barrel, and we're not being helped because of lawsuits by Bell Edwards' buddies who wants him to be reelected. That's shameful. We got to take a break. All right, folks, what do you think about my idea? Put some alcohol, maybe some marijuana. Let's legalize it. Put it in the House and put it in the Senate and down in the legislature. Hell, maybe we get something done. I know one thing there, some of them will be bruised and battered. Yeah, people are going to be going down to Baton Rouge and going into bars late at night to see if they can see elected officials brawling. I wish they would really brawl in their legislature. So my offer is to let them start drinking early in the morning. By the nighttime, we ought to have some really good fights in the legislature. And maybe something will get done on an accident. Maybe something to get done, accidentally get done in the legislature. So anyway, just for the record, Chabert and Bishop, we've made the national news because of this. By the way, I'm doing this jokingly, but this is not new. This has happened all over the country for many, many years. You've had these fights like this. You've had fights actually in legislature. Now, you had shootings in legislature. You know, people that are passionate about a particular bill. So, by the way, both of these guys were frat guys in college, Brandon. So, this is a frat fight. They're probably not in the same frat, and that's probably what they were fighting about, if I had to bet. $80 a barrel. $80 a barrel. And these people that used to, you're going to have to update me. You people that are in the oil and gas industry in this area, where were we last time, job-wise, when it was $80 a barrel? What kind of jobs were out there at $80 a barrel and going up? What kind of money was being made? I mean, I remember when you went down Evangeline Thruway, you could go to Evangeline Thruway, which is the I-49 corridor, and there was nothing but signs that we're hiring and great pay and great jobs and 401ks and retirement, all that stuff, health care. And now it's been changed with 99 trial lawyer signs wanting to sue the hell out of everybody. What should be happening right now? Let's just say normal $80 a barrel going up. What should be happening? Reinvesting back in the industry. People should be coming back in here, and the jobs ought to be here, not going to Texas. Some people say it's never coming back. I hope they're wrong. I'm not saying they are wrong. I just said I hope they're wrong. But that's why I'm asking, what should be happening right now? What should be happening at $80 a barrel and going up? First time at $80 a barrel since November 2014. Fewer exports would reduce supply in an already tightened market. I know this. It's not happening, and we know why. And to me, friends, my friends, that is a lot telling problem right there. The jobs and amount of money. In an economy that the GDP has went down for 2 years under Bell Edwards J. Dardenco governorship. We're not even talking about jobs and businesses in this state. We're not. We're only talking about raising taxes. Special session supposed to crank up Monday, all about raising taxes. Not fixing one thing, not fixing a thing. raising taxes. I'll say it again to my Republican friends. You're a fool to give Bill Edwards a permanent tax on anything. He won't be the governor but another year and 3/4, year and a half. All this is buying votes. The things at the hospitals is telling people, hey, when we get this money, remember it was us fighting for y'all. Don't forget to vote for us. All about votes. Jim Beam knows that, but he won't write about it. The advocate knows about it because that's what they're trying to help him with. So they could care less about the truth. All right, real quick. Keith in Lafayette. Keith, how you doing?
Question. Why can't we as a state set a price on a barrel of oil? Okay, if $80 is a proper position, we don't have to depend on OPEC to set our prices. And whether it goes down to $50, so what? We're going to pay $80 to keep our production and refineries going and our people working.
It
goes up to $100.
Keith, it doesn't work that way. It's never going to work that way. You got a free market. It's globally traded. It's just not going to work like that. You can't just artificially set stuff like that. I'm just telling you, you can't. People in other countries have tried to do that, and they have no economy anymore. We can't artificially set that. So, anyway, got to go. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline. Don't forget, folks, if you want to eat some great groceries from lunch to supper, Monday through Saturday, it's got to be Shucks. I brag a lot about Shucks. Somebody say, well, how do they pay you? Well, that's true. But let me tell you something. I ate there before I ever got paid. I loved it from day one. And I love it now. And I tell you what, I ain't running across anybody that's gone to Shucks and said they didn't have a great experience and a great time and ate great food. And I'm talking about people all over the state when they hear and they come this way and they get anywhere down in the Lafayette area. If you can ease over to Abbeville and eat at Shucks, you're going to enjoy the food. You're going to enjoy the experience. You're going to enjoy the company that you're going to get. Atmosphere is second to nobody's, and the food is too. It's awesome. And Shucks does it right. All great seafood made from scratch. Hey, if you like great oysters year-round, that's the place to go. They made the name doing oysters. But I tell you what, the char grill, the raw, it doesn't matter. Shucks is ready to serve you. They do a wonderful job. Tell the waitresses. Tell them. You heard it on the Moon Griffon Show. They love hearing that, folks. And I appreciate you telling them. Shucks, right there in Abbeville, Louisiana. It's some good food. All right. Let's go to round two. No pun intended. Senator Neil Raza joins us. Neil, you're not just, I said round two. You're not planning on taking on Chabert or Stuart Bishop anytime soon, huh?
That's all, my dear friends, that's all part of yesterday. All part of yesterday. I am going to agree with you. We've talked about this before. Me and Representative Blake Miguez already have a trip planned to Shucks as soon as we can get out of this.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I'm telling you, that is as good as any place that I've ever ate. And
did you go?
We literally talked about that. Sometime I handled a bill for him on the floor, and we talked about that yesterday. But we're going there.
Oh, no. You're going to have a good time. Make sure you tell the owners you said hi. They do a great job.
I've been a couple times.
Well, no, I had to bring up the fight because I was having fun with it, but we made national news now, so I'm kind of getting a kick out of it. But anyway, I think we ought to let people drink in the House and Senate when y'all doing the laws. I think it'd be a lot of fun. But anyway, all right, Neil Raza joins us, Senator Raza. All right, Senator Raza, the bill that looks like it's making its way, and I don't know if it's going to pass or not, is dealing with the parolees getting a vote, I guess.
Yes, that's House Bill 265 by Representative Pat Smith. So those that are listening right now, this will allow felons that are on parole the ability to vote. So it's where it's at right now. It passed out of kind of the history on the moon. It came up 3 different times in the House. It failed the first time, the second time, the third time. The bill gets 3 hearings. It came out. So I'd like to think there's a few members, that maybe weren't there or would have tended to vote differently, came to the Senate. Let me look at the vote. The vote on the Senate was 24 yeas and 13 nays. And so it's scheduled for concurrence today. What concurrence means that I ended up putting an amendment on it yesterday on the Senate floor saying that I voted against it, but I put an amendment on it saying that if you had been convicted of voter fraud, I think that's way clear that you shouldn't be eligible for that. That amendment was accepted. Today, the bill goes back over to the House, and I looked this now, and it's scheduled for concurrence. So what that means is the author will either agree with the amendment or they'll reject it. If they reject it, it goes into conference. But let's kind of talk about what it actually does. As it stands right now, as the law is, this bill is not law yet because it hasn't passed the process yet. But as right now, it's this right to vote, and that's in the section law. Every citizen of the state, upon reaching the age 18 years of age, shall have the right to register and vote, except this may be suspended while a person is indicted and judicially declared mentally incompetent or is under or in prison for a conviction of a felony. That's where we are right now. Well, what this bill does, it allows people who are still under order of incarceration but on parole or probation to register to vote after they completed 5 years of parole. So that's what the bill does. It changes it up. With some numbers you might have read in the Advocate, they said that it was roughly 70,000 people in total. I think it is. I wanted to audit from request. How many people would that be every year? The Department of Corrections told me that it's an average of 2,200 people a year that would be added to that. Now, there's some of them coming off and some of them come back in. And our recidivism rate, those that get locked back up, is very high. So it's a rotation back in.
Yeah, they also said the number I saw was 70,000 on parole right now.
Yeah, right now.
Wow.
Now the DOC, when I asked them that, they wouldn't confirm that. But that's when you do the math, though. There's DOC told me the fiscal office when I asked for this, they said there's approximately 2,200 people each year who get out of jail but are still under order of imprisonment. And there's about 70,000 of those are under parole supervision. So that's pretty big game changer. As you know, these low turnouts we have in elections.
Yep.
I watched an interview last night where a gentleman said that was a candidate for this, where he said, "Oh, you know who I'm going to vote for." Well, it's going to be it won't be for Neil Rice or one of the other 12 that voted against this bill, regardless of how we vote on everything else. They'll be voting strictly on the fact that a felon gets to vote. Now, if somebody's paid their debts to society, as this law stands now, you've paid your debt. You can come back in. But the concerning part, man, is that people that are no longer on parole, they go into the voter pool and are eligible to serve on jurors.
Yeah, that should bother everybody there.
That's real concerning. And that, if you know, also there's a piece of legislation that on our felonies, Louisiana took 10 out of 12. Now, there's a piece of legislation that's pending now that's coming back that you have to have 12 or 12 out. Well, that actually passed now. It's 12 out of 12 jurors to have a felony conviction.
Yeah.
And there's arguments on both sides of that, but I'm a realist. In Louisiana, I'm just not so convinced that one person can't be influenced to break that on that felony charge. I just looked at the people that was behind it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, what do you?
It normally tells you who's promoting it. You kind of so those two combinations. When you start seeing bills connect, you brought it up like on the Heritage bill. That's a different deal. But you start connecting dots like you did, and I listened to that, where the dots are connected. It's kind of the same thing here. You've got let's let felons vote, and now it's 12 of 12 jurors, and they'll be able to serve on the jury.
Wow. Yeah, it was 12 out of 12. You're right about
that. Elections, no doubt. You're talking about 70,000 people. You can change an election easily.
No doubt about it. But like you said, you can also change a jury pool really quick with that. Because there would definitely be some people said, okay, I made the jury now. We're going to wait and see. And somebody wants to move them on. All right, so real quick, do you think the thing has a chance to get beat at all, or you just don't have a prediction on it?
I don't have a prediction on it. There's still a chance. It has to have. I don't know whether the author is going to accept or reject that amendment, whether she'll like it or not. So, but there still is a chance. So anyone that's listening, reach out. Hadn't had concurrence yet. Reach out to your House member, and that's in your area, and tell them not to concur with this.
Okay.
So if it fails concurrence, then it has a chance of dying right here. It looks like we're going to try to finish up session maybe tomorrow, and I know we hear it all the time. We're rolling right back in on Tuesday if we do so. But
Okay.
So things are moving pretty fast today, and it's clicking through the last couple of days. But let me add this, man, so people can understand on the recidivism. I asked for a lot of information on this. U.S. Department of Justice report says that over 2/3 of released prisoners are reincarcerated within 3 years.
Wow, 2/3?
3/4. 3/3. Two-thirds. Two-thirds. Three-quarters are three-quarters are rearrested within 5 years. And so let me say it again. Two-thirds of released prisoners are rearrested within 3 years. Three-quarters are rearrested within 5 years. So three-quarters within 5, two-quarters within 3. That's pretty high recidivism. So I don't think we have any historical data to even closely justify that legislation. And that's very clearly by my position, man, and I appreciate what you've been doing and just spreading word on it and keeping the votes and those. And it has. We get a lot of calls, so I just encourage those to call their House members on the concurrence this morning.
All right, Neil, I appreciate it. We'll let you go. I was going to tell you stay in the fight, but probably after a couple of days ago, maybe I ought to not stay in the fight. All right, man. Thank you, man.
I'll stay engaged. I'll put it that way. How's that?
Well, you could just work on your left punches with your right hook, and you'll be good. All right, man. God bless. We appreciate it. All right. Daniel Erspalmer will join us. His column, Tax Hikes Hurt State Economy. We'll visit with him when he gets back with the Pelican Institute. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. We'll be right back. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Just to show how fair I am, folks. Brandon's going to be the one laughing, so is my next guest. Daniel Erspalmer joins us from the Pelican Institute. Last time I had him on, he was so wrong about the Constitutional Convention, I decided to bring him back. Oh, Daniel, look, if you can't laugh on this program with me, you can at least laugh at me. All right, bro, that's how we do it here. And I'm going, boy, when I say this, Daniel will go, what the heck am I doing on this program? But anyway, I like to have arguments and conversation with people that even agree or disagree with me if they do it in a mature manner. And you do it in a very mature manner, and I appreciate that. By the way, I don't have to do it in a mature manner. It's my program. All right, Daniel. Thank you for joining us, brother. You put out an article. I can do this twofold with you, and I'll go in the direction you want to go in. You got a column out, by the way, on my birthday yesterday. Tax hikes hurt state economy, and then you also had stuff talking about the special session tax proposals and how it's bad for the economy. So let's talk a little bit about what you're hearing, what they may do. And by the way, I'm on board with you now, brother, 100%. Because I really think taxes, our GDP has been down not 1 year but for 2 years. Raising taxes on the few people that are still paying them, that is not a good way to do your economy in your state.
No question about it. And I'll just say I have not yet given up the ghost on the Moon Griffon for convention delegate campaign. So
by the way, that's all I'm hearing. Are you going to run? Are you going to run? I said, no, I'm not going to run. That's not my job. They would not. They would not accept that.
That's why it would be so great.
Yeah, but first of all, I'd have to win, and that ain't happening either. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. No, you're absolutely right. This is the taxpayers across the state were promised 2 years ago that the tax increase they passed then would expire in 2 years. That's the law of the land. And of course, government spending has continued to grow. And so now here we are again. Tax increases are back on the table for July 1st. And so we released an econometric study. This gets really wonky, but that shows in real numbers the impact of tax increases on the economy. Look, tax policy has consequences, positive or negative. And I think it's important as legislators and citizens debate this topic that we are at least debating from facts and figures rather than emotion. And that's what our study intends to do.
Yeah, by the way, can people go look at the study?
You can if you go to www.pelicaninstitute.org. You scroll down, you'll see tax increases study. There is the first article item down right below the top section. So you can check it out. It's very simple. It's 4 pages. We didn't want to put a lot of commentary in it because the goal was just put the facts out there.
Well, no, you
can flip through it, see in real numbers.
Yeah, you got 4 scenarios. And this is what caught my attention. I just mentioned that we got the worst economy in the country. Look, I'm not down on this. We just do. And our GDP has went negative for 2 straight years. And the things that jumped me on all 4, I'm just going to throw some numbers at you. In one scenario, we'll be $86 million down on the GDP. Another one, $173 million down. Another $190 million down, and another one, $56 million down. So, in other words, our GDP will drop again, according to your numbers.
That's right. And look, just today there was more news on that front. The Bureau of Economic Analysis said that real personal income dropped again for Louisiana by 1.9% in 2016. So these numbers are down. GDP, jobs, personal income across the board, these numbers are down. And it's just not that there's ever a good time to raise taxes, but we have to realize our economy cannot support the size of government we have today. And it's time to make some real decisions and discussions about what are priorities for taxpayers, how much government do taxpayers want and are willing to pay for.
Yeah, Daniel, you're preaching my song. I've been preaching this for a while now. You cannot have an economy that's in the negative numbers and continue to raise taxes. It's a fact. The last 10 to 14 years, our economy is trailing by about 2 to 1. Our economy is growing about half of what our state government's growing. That's never going to work properly. It never works, and it becomes a disaster one day. As you know, out migration, now we got our median income is going down again. I mean, none of those numbers are good, and we've done nothing to change that, by the way. One of the other things I said earlier before you were on, we got $80 barrel oil. Man, usually the state of Louisiana, the area I'm in, is booming. It is starting to take off. Jobs are being created. That's not happening right now.
No, the situation is just too unstable for folks. They're not drilling here. They're drilling next door in Texas. They're exploring elsewhere. Why would you do it here when you can do it elsewhere, given the political environment and given the economic environment?
I know, but there's nobody. I know the governors or the co-governors are not doing anything about it. Nobody's leading the charge for the business people here. Nobody in government. And basically what they have to do is make the rules really fair and good for everybody and get out the way. They don't really create jobs and create economy. But what they're doing is with their tax bills and laws and all the stuff they're trying to do, it starts to hurt your economy. We're watching it take place now.
That's right. Our political leaders should be asking a very different question. You know, what you hear in the news, what you hear from our elected officials, by and large, there's some great folks there too, is how do we solve the budget gap? Well, that's a wrong question fundamentally. The fundamental question is how do we bring jobs and opportunity back to Louisiana? We have a great state with great people and great resources. There's absolutely no reason we should be in economic decline.
Well, at least I'm seeing...
And it's because fundamentally we're asking the wrong question.
Yeah, and the other thing is now we're starting to see them fighting. Talking to Mr. Daniel Erspalmer, CEO of the Pelican Institute. He's got a great piece out, Tax Hikes Hurt State Economy. As you notice, we don't need any more help hurting our economy. But state government keeps saying we got to have. But our migration, our gross domestic product is down for the last 2 years. And you just mentioned something just a second ago when you came on about our income is going down too as well. Is that correct?
That's right, 1.9% in 2016.
I mean, what else? What else can they do to us?
Well, the truth is, if we don't do something, those taxes are going to stay up. They're going to re-raise them again, and frankly, that's breaking the promise legislators and lawmakers across the state made to taxpayers that this would last 2 years and then we'd be free from it. Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense at all when you look at the numbers. And I'll tell you what, we released this report. As you saw, Moon, your listeners can see it, pelicaninstitute.org. It's pretty straightforward. It's facts and figures and straight numbers, very little commentary. It caused quite a stir yesterday. The folks on the left side of the political aisle have lashed out and attacked me, attacked the Pelican Institute, and surprisingly enough, the governor himself tweeted from his Louisiana governor Twitter account one of the attack pieces on Pelican and the study. And
you got to send that to me. I'd like to get that because
I'll do it.
Because as soon as you can. Because what's sad is we're giving real numbers. You hard too. When you got out migration and your GDP is contracting when most of the rest of the country is getting better. Okay. When your only reason you got unemployment down, and look, Tyler Bridges, who I've called a deputy press secretary, the press secretary for the governor last year, He wrote a piece last year saying the reason our unemployment's down is because people quit looking for work or they moved out. They don't look at any of those numbers. They don't look at the GDP numbers. They don't look at what you just said about the income going down. They don't look at anything at all. They don't look at oil prices sitting at $80 and we're not drilling. We're not doing anything in the oil and gas industry. I mean, they're not really looking at the real economy and what people are going through. It's state money. We need some more taxes. The governor's only came up with one solution for everything. That's just raise as many taxes as we can. But they haven't offered to fix one thing, as you know, Daniel. Not one thing is being fixed by the taxes that we did raise. Are we first in education now? Are we first in economy? What are we first in? What are we second? What are we in the top 10 in that we ought to be proud of?
That's right. You know, the truth is we have essentially the same broken government that we've had for the last couple of decades, and we're just paying about twice as much for it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any logical sense.
No, not at all. A couple of things that let's just do a couple of them. Raising the state sales tax by 0.25% or increasing the sales tax by 0.5%. Talk a little bit about those two. What happens?
You bet. So you hear a lot about let's just put back in a quarter penny. So all other things being equal, what the economic analysis shows is that would, at a quarter penny increase in the sales tax, have a net impact of reducing our GDP, the best measure of our economic health, by $86 million, and mean a decrease of jobs of about 1,400. If you do that, if you double that, if you add a half a penny to back to the sales tax, you lose $173 million in the GDP and 2,800 jobs. These taxes have consequences. We have to know them.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Now, you do mention adjusting the individual income tax bracket. That's really a big kicker.
It is. You know, one of the things on the table, most of your listeners know we have a graduated tax base here. So you pay 2% tax on the first $12,500 of your income. You pay 4% on income between $12,500 and $50,000, and then 6% on anything over $50,000. The proposal that's on the table would decrease that top end of the 4%, so you would now pay 6% on anything over $25,000. So this is really a significant tax increase on middle income. And if we did that, the model suggests that we'd lose $191 million in our GDP and 2,600 jobs in the state in a year.
You know, and let me just throw this in, Daniel. If your economy is decreasing and your income is going down, this hurts everybody. This doesn't help anybody. But yet they keep throwing people out there and saying that we're going to throw people out in the streets and close hospitals. But we heard this argument. I don't know how long you've been living here, but I've been hearing this argument since I've been born, I think.
Yeah. Well, and let's add another layer to it, right? So with federal tax reform, as you know now, Louisiana taxpayers are paying more on their income taxes. In aggregate, it is about $300 million. Yep. Where other states that's happened, legislators are rushing to give money back to the taxpayers to make it even. We're saying, oh, dear God, no, don't take this money. We must keep this $300 million in increased tax collections in order to get closer to balancing the budget. It's really a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, I have not seen anybody from the governor's office, not one, jump up and down and say, you know what, Trump gave this money to him. We need to make sure they get to keep it. Not one. Not one.
That's right.
By the way, I'm reading it now. The governor tweeted out, the Pelican Institute study is the most absurd economic study you'll likely ever encounter. A pathetically truncated 4-paragraph, long talking point memo spread across 4 glossy pages. That's what the governor said. The governor doesn't look at facts at all, I see.
Well, it's really a shame because, again, our objective here, look, obviously we've got a point of view. You and I have talked about it. I've made it clear. But the objective of the report was to say, look, we're talking, all of the conversation is now centered around how do we raise taxes. And I think it's important before citizens have that debate, before legislators and elected officials push that button, that we are very clear about what the consequences are so we can have an honest, open debate. And to get that kind of reaction was a little bit disappointing. This is about healthy, vigorous debate. I think that's good. I think people who disagree ought to, present data that support, their idea if they can find it. But let's have that debate. Let's really get in there and say what's best to bring jobs and opportunity back to Louisiana. We're not trying to call names or be vicious or anything else. Let's just get in there and have the debate, and that's what's best for Louisiana taxpayers.
By the way, Elizabeth Crisp, who writes for The Advocate, tweeted on some who say Medicaid expansion has hurt the state budget. That's hogwash. They don't believe that either. It has hurt the state budget. That's where the biggest growth has come from. And we don't get free money from Medicaid. What we're doing, we're getting money after we put up a certain amount of money. Medicaid expansion, especially, I'm not talking about helping people that need help, but the people that are getting it that don't need help, that's what people are upset about. According to Jeff Landry, the Attorney General, is about 40%, and it's about $460 million a year.
It is, and it's only going to get worse. You're right. The biggest problem with this is not really the cost, though that's bad. The biggest problem is expanding Medicaid to able-bodied adults means the people who need the help most are left out. Since expansion, Louisiana had the second highest number of people die on a waiting list for a Medicaid-funded medical procedure.
Since the expansion.
These are the folks. These aren't the Medicaid expansion population folks. These are the folks who most need it, who are now crowded out because more and more people are demanding those services.
I know, Daniel.
And so it's a shame.
What you're talking about, though, is the stuff that I've been trying to get to people for many, many years. Look, we have a spending problem in the state of Louisiana. You got to understand that. That's why, and me, I'm joking about this, but I'm not. Constitutional Convention is not going to fix any of this. It's not. Because we got to have people in place that are tough enough to do the right thing, and we could fix it. But we choose not to. We just choose not to fix anything. And what bothers me about the convention, and I'll go back to this, Brandon's going, I thought you wasn't going there. What bothers me, let me tell you what bothers me. The 2/3 vote.
Let's hear it.
That 2/3 vote on taxes and fees, we're going to get beat with that. If we get beat with that, you think we have problems. You just think we have problems. I mean,
I hear you.
That's
it's right. I mean, look, fundamentally, it's about casting a vision for what Louisiana could be, with the right ideas, with the right political will, and creating the environment here. Look, you and I both know, Moon, people are fed up. Trust in the legislature is low. Trust in the process is low. Trust in government is low, and for good reason. We see the economic numbers, and so it's really time for a fundamental change. And whether that's through a constitutional convention or something else, sure. I'm for it.
Sure,
we've got to be ready. We've got to have the ideas, and that's what we're trying to do with the help of you and lots of other folks around the state, and then go out there and sell it to folks. And that's ultimately how we're going to turn the state around.
Yeah, it's just so frustrating. I had a share with the audience yesterday. I found out that my niece and a nephew by marriage and their 2 kids, young, in their 30s, both very well educated, both have, I thought, pretty good jobs in Louisiana, just took a job to move to Texas. They're going to have young, educated kids, too. They're very good students now. That's the type people that are leaving. That's the type people we want here to vote and do everything they do. That's a perfect example of who's leaving. There's nothing in the legislature or nothing the governor or co-governorship's pushing that's going to change that. We got $80 a barrel oil, and we don't have the jobs that ought to be being created right now because we want to sue the heck out of everybody. I mean, this is real stuff we're dealing with, and they don't even want to understand. They look like to me they want anybody that wants to be dependent, we're going to take care of you.
It's problematic. And look, I think we get your listeners and folks across the state want to do what's best and help folks who really need it. But when you start expanding that, it just doesn't make any sense to folks, and you lose trust. And at the same time, we're costing taxpayers money we can't afford, and doing it to support services that aren't accomplishing their mission. I mean, it just any business or even household income who ran this way would be bankrupt immediately. You know, if you and I run out of money, Moon, we can't just go get some more. We have to learn to live within our means.
Hold up.
There's no reason the state shouldn't do the same thing.
I'm going to take you to task on that. Now, you said we need to live. You said we need to live within our means, and I agree. But yesterday, or the day before, whenever Jay Darden went to the press room, he said the pundits, quote, "The pundits have been proven wrong. We cannot live within our means." Jay Darden, that was his quote. I read it on the ad 22 times yesterday, just to let people know that I was serious. I'm serious. Jay Darden said that. We, the pundits, have been proven wrong. That's his words, not mine. Now, how do you justify that? I thought everybody should live within their means. Jay Darden said,
Moon,
no.
I'm not caught speechless very often. I'm sure you're in the same boat.
Well, I'll tell you what.
That's a hard one to process.
I had to read it several times. Jay Darden said it, not Moon, came out of his mouth. The pundits have been proven wrong. We cannot live within our means. So there it is. And there's your problem right there. All right, look, I got to run. Daniel, God bless. I want to do it again as soon as we can. A great article. Give out the website one more time.
www.pelicaninstitute.org. Thanks, Moon. I appreciate it.
Yeah, go find the article where he said that. You will be amazed at the wisdom that came out of that mouth.